we're going to do the shir of Chavtes. Okay? And here we go. When it says in another place in Zehar, Gu Rekia Tata, that it ascends at least to the lower heavens, that in Pashas Pekudei and Zehar, the Zehar that we quoted in the very beginning of the Yeres HaKedesh, where it says that when you daven without a proper kavana, your tefillas are pushed down to Asiyah. So the Zehar says Lashon Gu Rekia Tata. Now Gu Rekia Tata means it at least goes up to a certain level of the heavens. Rekia Tata, Sof Kol Sof Rekia. And the other Zehar, which is on top of page 308, it says Imila de Kayoyes. If daven properly, the Davke Imila de Kayoyes, if you daven properly, Solkan Ima, it ascends with her Adavira de Rekia del Ele B'chol to the air of the higher Rekia. So the question that the Alter Rebbe is now asking is, in davening itself we have a shtickle stira. In the Zehar Pashas Pekudei, where it says Nitches Lagamri, he concedes that even at Tefillah we have Machshavas Arz, at least it goes up to some Rakia. And in the Zehar Pashas Vayaka, which on top of our Amid, he says only when it's a proper davening is it bekeh to the higher Rakiyim. So the Alter Rebbe answers because we're talking about two madrigas of Rakiyah and two madrigas of Tefillah. Leikosha means it's not a question. Why? The Rakiyah Tata, the mention of Rakiyah Tata in the Zehar Pashas Pekudei, that when a person davens without a proper kavana, it remains in Asiyah and goes only to Rakiyah Tata, it means Me'inyon Rakiyah, the midvirigu alma. It's amongst those heavens that are connected to the world. Shebapashas Pekudei, which is called the Pashas Pekudei, hein the Malchus da Asiyah, for Malchus of Asiyah. With the Pashas Vayakel, and the Rekiyan that discussed in Pashas Vayakel, where it says that only if you have a tefillah kedekayos does it go up. Hein the Zod Asiyah, am kam zeh am ben Asiyah. Meshikosa Beit Chaim Shashon Perigimel Gabedot Asiyah Insha. You see, there's a lot of madreges to the concept of Parcha L'Yela. You do a mitzvah, it goes up. If it's a mitzvah Baba Veda, it doesn't go any place, right? Mitzvah as God doesn't go any place. We do a mitzvah, it goes up. The ideal place for mitzvah to go up is to the Esesfiras, to the Beis HaMikdash, to the godliness of the world. But if it's not so ideal, it doesn't go up to the Beis HaMikdash, at least it goes up to the Kiyim, which is not the pneumius of a world, but it's a more spiritual domain. So the Rebbe is medayik in l'shoynois hazoyhar. And he says, when your davening is no good, it says in Zehar Pekudei, it goes up at least to the Rakiyah Tata. And when your davening is kedekayos, it goes up to the Rakiyah de Le'ela. It says it's not the same Rakiyah. Two different concepts of Rakiyah. The Rakiyah that your tefillah goes up to, when your davening is deficient, is the Rakiyim which have a shachas to Asiyah, to Elam Hazeh, Malchus. And the Rakiyim that your davening goes up to, when you daven much better, goes up to the Rakiyim of Zoh. What about the fact that it seems indicated in Pashas Pekudei, in the first day of Pashas Pekudei, the Gam Tefillah Psula, Oila Heichal Arishin, that even a Pasal Tefillah at least goes up to the first Heichal. Sheimen Nitchas Lamatav, which it's pushed down. Says the Alter Rebbe, V'uzad the Bria, and L'chei Heichal Arishin is in Bria. We have two Zayir, the Zayir in Pekudei and the Zayir in Vayakal. What's the difference? The Zayir in Pekudei describes what happens in Yadaven that's no good, and the Zayir in Vayakal describes the davening which is good. So he says they both describe going up to the Kiyim. One is a lower Rakiyah, one is a higher Rakiyah. But now he asks a different kasha. There's a Zayir in Pekudei which says that when you daven not good, they go up to Heichal Arishin, which is El Mabriya, which is higher than Malchus of Asiyah, it's higher than Zav, it's a higher world. So the Rebbe says, listen, why kasha me? It's not a question. You know why it's not a question? Because when you speak about worlds, there's a lot of Eichos. There's Madreges in Bria, which are lower than Madreges in Asiyah. The Rakiyim of Asiyah we spoke about earlier are higher than the Heichal of Bria we're speaking about now. Even people's Avedas, whether they're Kalos v'Chamuris, light or severe, Eilis l'sham ascend till Bria, Afilu at Heichal Adal, even till the fourth Heichal, K'meshkotz after Beit Avendal. Elavade, the vart is, she'ein mahus v'aliyas shavis, you cannot compare the different types of ascent, ve'in erech, ve'dimyan beineim, you can't measure them and compare them, elabashita v'ashem belvad v'dal, they just have the same names. So, now we're introducing a whole new dimension. What's the new dimension? That machshavas zaras also go up to Bria, but they go up to the klipas of Bria, to the chitanya shebech chitanyas of Bria. So a person's pasal tefillah may go up till Bria, but that's not the same thing as when we said that your pasal tefillah goes up to the Rakiyah of Asiyah. Because the idea that your pasal tefillah goes up to the Rakiyah of Asiyah, that Rakiyah is closer to Kedusha. And the idea that your tefillah goes up till the Heichal of Bria, it's a much more chitanyastic level. And therefore it's not a question. The Sfiras are always the Lakus. That's the Pnimis Shebe Pnimis. The world is not the Sfiras. The Sfiras is Lavushim and the Echolas. Here he calls them the Rekiyim. But the Rekim is part of Edelet. The Rekim has more shaykhs to the Alakus. And the Echos is more Chitzeniistic. It's never Kalim. Kalim are Alakus. Kalim are the Beis HaMikdash. They're the godless in every world. Well, but the Kalim and all the elements are Alakus. Fan Aloshin in my modem, Gamba Asiya in Kedusha Gemur. It's mentioned in Tanya Perek Lamites. Kalim are always Alakus. So that's... Okay? Now,
so you're suggesting that even in the...
there's different ishtalshaluyos. There's a pnimisdik ishtalshalus, an emtedik ishtalshalus, and a chitzenidik ishtalshalus. They're all parallel. They're all happening at the same time. And Alter Rebbe continues and he says, the Bazeh Yuvan Gamkin, this also explains, Mashakosov Sham, what's written there in the Zayah, Daf Reish Membeis, Shabahechal Abeis, that in the second Hechel, which is in Bria, is Damin HaMamuna, or Kayamin HaLavushim, that are Mamuna al HaLavushim, when a person does mitzvahs, there's levushim that the person gets for those mitzvahs, and those levushim wrapped in neshama, they're in Elam Abriya. Although shehein, that the mitzvahs themselves are meganed natachn dasiya, are in the lower ganed, which is only in asiya. So how could the levushim of the mitzvahs be rooted in bria if the mitzvahs themselves are in the lakus of asiya, which is from the yud? And of course, the answer has already been established. Because the madrega of Bria from which the levushim are coming is more chitzeniistic, and the madrega of Asiya where the mitzvahs go is more pneumistic, and therefore you can't ask such questions from one Maimer Zayir on the other because you're dealing with aspects of pneumis and chitzenius.